Oh, yep, there we are. It worked.
There we go. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Paranormal Live. As you can see, I'm in the dark. I'm going to turn the light on in a minute so you can see me and see how good looking I am. Welcome to Monday Night Live. On here we have tonight myself, Paul from Host for Ghosts, Andrew from South Coast Ghosts, Julia from Paranation Ghost Hunting Events. So get on the website, buy them tickets because there's some real great investigations coming up. We have Jenny, my partner, is going to talk tonight a bit about crystals and grounding and opening up and healing and all that type of stuff with crystals. We have Paula, who comes along, very knowledgeable. So welcome, Paula. And Luke, that doesn't really say a great deal, but looks good. So tonight, hope everybody's had a good week and a safe week and everybody is well. Tonight, we're going to talk about crystals, about opening and closing. So if you have any comments, please send them in and we'll try and comment and we'll look at them and answer them if we can. It's about, if you tell us how you protect yourself going into a haunted location, how you ground yourself coming out and ground yourself going in, so you don't come home with something you didn't go there with. So it's an interesting subject tonight about with the crystals, what they do, what you can use, how they work and all of that. And Jenny will go into that in a minute. Next Saturday, we have the big one, Shepton Mallet Prison. Julie, do you want to just tell them quickly a bit about that one?
Yes. At the end of the month, 28th, we're at Shepton Mallet Prison, and it's an overnight. It's a sleepover. We're there from 8 p.m. till 8 a.m. It's my first time. I've only been there, so very, very excited. We've got lots of people coming, lots of regulars, and a lot of people.
Oh, she's gone.
Oh, Julia's frozen.
The cells and maybe sleep in the cells and everything. So I think I might have buffered out then. I'm not sure, but
yeah, a little bit.
So yes, really excited to see everybody, and it'll be my first time there. Everybody that's been before can show us where all the hot.
That'll be the hot spots.
Yep.
You've buffered.
I am.
So we're all looking forward to it. A great investigation. Long night there. I've been there on a paranormal night with Jenny, and we had some fantastic interaction there. It does get very cold there, so if you're watching this and you're going, wrap up because there's no heating in there. So it can get very cold, especially when we're at the end of the month as well. So it's going to be a little bit colder. It'll probably get a little bit damper at night as well. So just make sure you wrap up. It's generally warm in the base, where the base is, and it's very well looked after. Your equipment will be safe on all of that. So we look forward to seeing you on that Saturday. What time is it from? What time do they get there, Julia?
It's from 8 till 8. And we will be there at 8. So we're not allowed any early access or anything to set up. So we will be there at 8. Everybody will be there at 8. And it's just so that we can get those 12 hours of, in the building. So we'll be setting up and while people are grabbing teas and coffees, and then we'll just go. I think because it's such a huge venue, I have been there during the day for a walk around. I think with the lit walk around, we will just do maybe a little bit and then say, go and explore.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I found my old EVP, so voice recorder, so I'm going to take that as well. And
yeah.
Yes, can't wait. It's going to be so exciting.
It's such a big area to cover because also you could go outside in the courtyard outside where there would have been executions, go to the execution room, all the wings, and it's a huge place. It's quite daunting in the dark when you're there because you're really not sure where you are in the building, to be honest.
Somebody mentioned the church. There's a church in there as well.
Yeah,
my friend Sarah
upstairs.
that's come in, she said chapel.
Yeah.
And she said that she's had a lot in there in the past. she's been before and she's coming next weekend. So just generally overexcited about the whole thing, and to get together again, ghost hunt with everybody that we're all our friends and everything, and to meet new people as well and meet new friends. So just really excited. Loads of people have been messaging me saying how excited they are about coming. People that have been there before, people that haven't been there before. There's people that want to go, but they don't want to travel on their own. And it's there's so many people that just can't wait to go.
Yeah,
They also have.
It's quite a venue, Jen.
Yeah, sorry.
Good, Jen.
They also have the old Victorian cells, don't they, Paul? But we didn't actually go
downstairs.
down in those. Yeah.
No, you have to climb through. What was then when we were there? You had to climb through a hole into the old Victorian cells, which would have held men, women, children, all of it, all chucked into one room, type thing. So, if you go in, we can't wait to see you on Saturday there, next Saturday. So it's a great venue. So I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It covers a huge, vast place. So be prepared for a lot of walking.
And if you fancy buying some bits and bobs, they have the normal kind of stuff, pencils, pencil cases, all the kind of paraphernalia they normally have at those kind of venues. And they've also got like sweatshirts and stuff like that. I've been in Shepton Mallet prison, that kind of thing.
And their tour guides are very knowledgeable, aren't they, Jen?
Yeah.
And if you pick up names and all sorts of things like that, write them down or record them. And if you go and speak to the lady, she can actually go back and look and see if she can find the names for you. When we were there, she was lovely, wasn't she, Jen? She was nothing was too much effort.
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, we got this word or we got this phrase," and she say, "Oh, well, that's be the old slang in the prison for this," or "I'll go back and see if I can find that name for you to confirm that the name you got is or would have been here." So very excited to go back there. I am. So they're very, very good. The lady that was with us that night, me and Jen went, she was very knowledgeable, wasn't she, Jen?
Yeah.
She said, give me anything you want, names, whatever, and I'll see what I can do. She said, I can't promise anything. And then when you go back for a cup of tea, you say, any luck? She said, that name, that would have been so-and-so, and they would have been in this cell, or they would have done that, committed a murder or committed a theft, or, they have the records there of who was there during the time. So it's also used during the Second World War by the Americans. So don't be surprised if you get a part of American names and, Reginald and all type things. And it's so good. It is just, I'm quite excited to go. It's a shame Jen's back so bad that she can't go again, unfortunately, but I'm quite excited to go, really. So that's where we are next Saturday. So what I'm going to do is hand over to Jenny. Jenny's going to go through a few crystals with you to show you what they are, what they do, and why they do it, and like opening up and closing down, because we're not sure what people do when they go on a paranormal event. Do you actually ground yourself before you go in, or you just go bundling in the door? And do you ground yourself coming out? Or open yourself going in, because obviously you're opening up with intention, and close it down when you come out, because you obviously don't want to come home with something you didn't go with. Or do people, can you comment on here for us to tell us how you protect yourself going into a haunted location? So I'll hand over to Jen and she'll talk a bit about crystals. So if you want to know about crystals, ask Jen or send us a question and I'm sure we'll be able to answer it. So over to you, Jen.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so my name's Jenny Easton, or as I'm known as, I'm a reader and a medium and a tarot and oracle reader, and I go by the name of Jenny Marianne with that, and I do a live on a Friday morning if anyone wants to catch me on Facebook. So what do we mean by grounding ourselves. It's nothing to do with like grinding ourselves into the ground. But what we like to do is imagine that we've got roots going deep down into the ground. That kind of like anchors our spiritual self or our auras into the ground. And it kind of like, then you can bring up your protection by doing this. Okay, so you put your roots right down into the ground, and imagine they're sort of like being anchored onto a big rock or something else like that. And then we bring up our protection. Now you can just go with whatever your imagination, how your imagination takes you, if you like. Imagine a bright white light surrounding you, or bringing up colours, or bringing up some crystal energy or something along those lines. And by doing that, and by setting the intention of grounding and protecting yourself, you kind of could bat off anything that might be negative coming towards you. And there's lots of other ways of putting up protection. So, say for instance, we're at a paranormal investigation. Quite often people will do their own thing, but we've been discussing this and thinking that maybe we should like actually do a set intention, I kind of guess, by saying a prayer or putting up angel protection. I mean, there's lots of different ways of doing this. Okay, so it's by setting your intent that you put that protection up for the whole group, and it just makes people feel that much safer. So, for instance, when I used to be teaching in a circle, I would ask Archangel Michael, and we tend to ask that 3 times, Archangel Michael, to place an angel of protection in each corner of the room to guard and guide us on our pathway. So, there's other ways. If you were doing it at home, you may put on a candle to start with, maybe use a protection spray. Like if you were cleansing a house of negative energy, you might use a sage stick. And I've got a few items here. There's a sage stick, or Palo Santo. You would burn that to protection. Here's my angel spray. Or you could use crystals. So I actually wrote down a few crystals and wrote a few bits about them that people could use. But just briefly, you could also use sound for protection, but also you can use sound to clear energies or negative energies. Okay, or you could use healing or crystal healing. And I've done all of those things. I've got the t-shirt. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I've done all of those courses and got the qualifications for that. So, were there any questions regarding anything there, Angela?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Right. So one of the stones you could possibly use would be tourmaline, which is, these all tend to be black crystals, okay, which are generally used as protection, okay. So tourmaline, try to say it, grounds and puts a protective shield around the body. It disperses negative energy, clears the aura, and removes blockages. Another one that you could possibly use maybe black obsidian, which I've got here. Bit of black obsidian, and I normally carry that in my pocket when I go to events, that kind of thing. So black obsidian is a strongly protective stone, forming a shield against negativity. It can also provide a grounding cord from the base chakra to the center of the earth. Sorry, I couldn't read my own writing then. It is helpful for highly sensitive people as it absorbs negative energies from the environment and strengthens you in times of need. It can also block psychic attack. If anyone's ever had that, I can tell you a few things about that if anyone's interested. It's also good for geopathic stress. So, you know, like phones, TVs, you know, electrical stuff, or anything that's going on under the ground. Okay, it can also facilitate in going to past lives to heal any trauma or phobias. So, you know, what we were talking about last week, you could use it for that as well. Another stone that one that they used to use in Victorian times is jet. And jet is actually not a crystal. In fact, it's a fossilized wood, but looks like coal. It can draw out negative energy and alleviates unreasonable fears. It is a stone, well, call it a stone, of protection. It guards against violence and illness and protects when journeying in a shamanic ceremony. It often was worn by Victorian people to protect from entities of darkness. Jet can also be used to open up to psychic experiences. Okay, and then another one, sorry, you didn't see me there. Another one you can use is smoky quartz, which is good for grounding, gets rid of negative or stuck energy, protective stone, but also good for raising vibration. And I've used that myself in a lot of crystal healing, and it's really, really good. And it can really get you out of a depressive state, you know. So from there, do we have any questions?
What does Angela? What do you use, and how do you protect yourself? Give your voice a rest, Jen.
Yeah, thanks.
I have this bracelet here, which is, I don't know if it's tourmaline or obsidian.
Hold it up again.
This
I
looks
usually wear that
obsidian,
one.
it looks, doesn't it? Obsidian looks like.
I can't see
Yeah.
it properly.
It's completely black, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be one of those.
Yeah, I usually wear that, and then sometimes I have an amethyst necklace on, or amethyst in my ears, and I often carry just a clear quartz because that amplifies all of the properties of everything. So it sort of makes whatever you're wearing stronger. Those are the main ones I tend to use.
And how do you protect yourself when you're going into your investigation? Do you ground yourself, or do you just walk straight in, or you know what? How do you ground yourself or protect yourself other than the crystals?
Personally, I forget every time, but usually
I think a lot of people do, to be honest.
Usually before we start, someone says like the prayer of protection. Like, oh yeah, I'm covered. I'm fine now. I always forget that bit because everything's going on all at once. And,
that is the trouble, isn't it? And that's what we were. That's what we were saying about, you know, making perhaps a bit more of a thing about it, because you know we all do tend to forget. You know, and I'm just as bad. I mean, the fact is that I tend to carry that stone in my pocket. All right, look, I don't know. Can you see that? That's a picture of a.
Sort of, yeah.
Hang on, I can't get it right. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So this is my crystal Bible, So if anyone's got any questions about crystals or anything like that, I have the Judy Hall Crystal Bible there.
I've got one of those.
How
Have you?
about,
Yeah,
Nice.
the bookshelf.
how about
behind me.
yourself, Julia? What do you do? Julia, are you there?
She's frozen.
Just saying, Julia, I don't know if you heard. How do you do? What do you do when you go on the events in the haunted location? How do you ground yourself, or do you take crystals with you?
Yes, I do, and I've also say like a before I go in, I do like a opening of everybody. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think we should make a bit more of a thing of
Yeah.
it to do it like as an
To do it
actually
as a
All
group.
together in a
Yeah.
group.
out loud.
Yeah.
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 Sorry, my
Because Damon used to, didn't
screen
he?
keeps on spinning.
Mm.
Oh dear. And do you carry any crystals, Julia, when you go in, or? Oh,
Yes, I do.
and what
I
ones do
quite
you
like
carry?
the rose quartz, and I've also got some amethysts as well.
Oh, okay. And you carry them in with you when you go into the investigation?
Yes.
And you never come home with anything you shouldn't have done?
Well, I've been doing it for 20 years, and no, we've never brought anything at home.
Other than Neil.
He stays here. But no,
Right.
never. And also, I've never had anyone say to me that, do you know, I think this is better when I'm in my shed, isn't it? I've never had anybody say to me that anything's gone home with them.
Which is good, isn't it? Proves
Yeah.
it works, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
the thing. You know, if you do it as a group, in a group at the beginning, I think people get a bit more confident. If they haven't done it or they're newbies, they're thinking, what happens if we go home with something? What's because, you know, and if you do an opening, grounding or prayer before you start, and when you close at the end, you'll think, well, that's really good because I know I'm not going to go home with anything. Because that must be the burning question some people ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
Will I go home with anything? Will anything follow me home? You know, and that's probably a burning question, isn't it? Really, people have when they're walking out the door. Bye, thank you, a great evening. I wonder if somebody's going to follow me home.
We hope not.
Well, yeah, but that'd be.
Exactly.
How about yourself, Luke? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I wear this necklace every day. Green jade.
Green jade.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
I think that's what Darren used to
again.
wear.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Years
Yeah.
ago when he's the one that mentioned it to me, and I've worn it ever since now. Yeah, I feel like it protects me.
Yeah. I'll just quickly. Do you want me to just run through those couple of crystals there? Because it's saying amethyst is an extremely powerful and protective stone with a high spiritual vibration. It guards against psychic attack, transmuting the energy into love. Natural tranquilizer, amethyst blocks geopathic stress and negative environment energies. Its serenity enhances higher states of consciousness and meditation. Amethyst has strong healing and cleansing powers and enhances spiritual awareness. So, jade, wait a minute. I'll look up jade. What's that?
And do you say a prayer, Luke, or do you ground yourself before you go in? Or are you just solely reliant on your green jade?
I think it works better now because when I first started investigating, I used to get pushed a lot really badly.
Oh,
But now I don't anymore. It's all calm now. Everything's different.
Right, and yet that's because of your green jade, yeah? You think
So it
that's
frozen
what?
again.
Yeah, I never used to wear crystals, but now since I've worn them, it's been better. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Darren helped me. Darren helped me a lot to do with it. With Darren as well, he helped me quite a bit.
Yeah, he was quite a believer in green jade, wasn't he?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Amy's
drums help
his
as well,
green
yeah.
jade now.
Oh, is she? Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to get her to show it, but she won't come near the camera.
What's you got? What's name you got?
Darren's green jade
Darren's green
necklace.
jade.
Oh, lovely. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's saying here, it is a protective stone which keeps the wearer from harm and brings harmony. It is believed to attract good luck and friendship. Okay, and green jade is the most common one. It calms the nervous system and channels passion in constructive ways. Doesn't say anything specifically about healing, but it's like a protective stone, basically.
That would make sense, Lou, wouldn't it? When you said things are calmer
Yeah.
now,
Wasn't it? Yeah.
so that would just sort of relate to that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Was,
Like Jenny's just said, it relates to harmony and control or whatever. And that's exactly like what you just said, wasn't it? You feel more relaxed and more calm now. So it proves that these crystals do work.
Oh yeah, they do.
You know, they're there for a purpose, aren't they? Really, Paula, what do you do? How do you do yours?
I always have jade as well, but it's upstairs at the moment. I've got a lot of stones upstairs all around the house because we had a lot of spirits here, basically, which wasn't welcome. And there's Justin's dad used to come and visit quite a lot, and he used to pester William. So we had to do like a sage thing around the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I have got sage plants out the garden, basically, which I cut to dry, basically to do burn the sage around the
Oh,
house.
that's a good idea.
So yeah, so I've got them out the garden, so I can cut them and burn them when there's no negative. And I do wear jade on me, basically, usually, but it's not on at the moment. But yeah, usually have jade.
Yeah.
It's upstairs hanging up, basically. And funny enough, sometimes I wear a cross as well.
Mm.
So I always
Okay.
have jade necklace and have a cross with me as well. So sometimes I could be daring. Sometimes I think, no, I don't bring the jade. I just bring the cross. Because I do think a lot. Because it's my it's my one of my grand's crosses. Basically, when she died, she gave it to it's one that was left with me. Basically, so I feel that protects me quite a lot. So
Yeah.
and I used to
Yeah,
wear, and I
I
did wear
was
it for
gonna say,
Darren actually as well.
definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we have got our loved ones in the spirit world that do
Yeah.
protect us as well. So I mean, there is that too, that aspect of it too.
I do the
Yeah.
Lord's Prayer as well. I do the Lord's
Yeah.
Prayer. So yeah, that's what I usually trust. I haven't had anything bad come to me yet. Do you know what I mean? And William does it. William does a thing as well. Basically, he does, but I can't
Oh,
remember what
that's
he does
good.
now. So
'Cause
William does one as well. So
your William
Yeah.
is very sensitive to
yes,
spirit.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he did ages ago, and that's why Darren gave him the green jade, and he wore that
Yeah.
for a while, basically, because when he was down to that hall that time in Stampshaw, he was connected to a little boy down there. And he basically was sitting on the floor, and he was this little boy sat on William's lap. This ghost did at the house, and William was felt over emotional, basically, and we had to get him away from him. Darren did basically, and I think you, Julie, was there. I think with some people was
I
trying to get him
was,
away from it.
yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
they had
I
to get the
think,
boy away from him, detach him, didn't they, away from him?
yeah, I think everybody's got their own way of, sorry, I'll keep on buffering. I think everyone's got their own sort of like way of like protecting themselves, haven't they? And what they do. And I do think like the Lord's Prayer is probably one of the strongest forms and well known to throughout the centuries. It's quite a strong
Yeah.
prayer. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've got it with you all the time, haven't you? So
Yeah,
You're taught it in school, aren't you? So everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's having that safety net, isn't it? You know, you could go into a haunted location, no matter how haunted it is, you know that you're going to come out with nothing with you.
yeah,
You know, and sometimes you see these people they go crashing in there and come on, do what you got to do. You know, do this to me, do that to me, and you think, you know what? You're actually dealing with something you can't see that could be more powerful than you are, and yet you're baiting it. You know, and you can bet your life they haven't protected themselves and, you know, come on, scratch me, do what you got to do, you know, do this, do that. But you're actually dealing with something that's quite dangerous, aren't you? When you're in that, if you get a demonic or a negative energy or spirit and they want to harm you, they will scratch you, you know. So at
I have
least
been
if you go in there
scratched.
where you're protected, have you?
Yeah, I was it was many years ago. I didn't realise it at the time, but on the way home, I thought, oh, my neck feels a bit sore. So I went like that to touch my neck, and I thought, oh, I've got a bit of a scratch. And I thought, God, that's quite a big scratch. And I thought, that's really quite a big scratch. And it just went like straight across my neck like that. And I was like, oh,
Whoa.
Oh,
I get that. I know when they did that.
Mm.
And that was when there was probably about 8 of us walking along, and a stone was thrown from behind in front of us, and that is when I think that they scratched my neck. But
Where
obviously,
were you?
we were at the Explosion Museum down in Gosport, and it wasn't until I was like driving home, I thought, feels a bit sore, because you're so like into
Mm.
everything, and I thought it feels a bit sore, and I thought that's a bit of a scratch. I thought that's quite big, and it went straight across my neck.
Oh,
But I've always done the same, you know, grounding and protection, the white light,
Mm.
prayer, and I've always done that before every event. So when everybody's sort of like, I do a little something before, and then when everybody's gathered in the room, then I'll do my bit, and then I'll open up and close down. So yeah, I think everybody's got their own ways of protecting, and I know that when people do come on the ghost hunts, they go, "Oh, I've got this crystal." It's some people wear pentagons.
Well, I was just going to
Um,
say that actually there was another thing, Pentagon, yeah, for
some
protection.
yeah,
Yeah.
some people wear like the pentagons for protection. Other people carry crystals. The grounding and white light is probably, and yeah, lots of people have
Prayer.
their own sort of ways of
Yeah.
doing it themselves. I know a lot of people that come have got their own ways of protecting them, with as I say, pentagons and crystals,
Mm.
that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I think, if we sort of like did it vocally, that
Yeah.
would probably be a better,
Yeah.
especially for newbies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd probably be a
A
sort
good
of
thing.
better idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
also, if anyone here or on here or is listening ever gets scared or think they've got something going on, just ask for Archangel Michael, because he is the protector. He's the one with the trusty sword that gets rid of the negative. And of course, prayer, the Almighty, would be another way. And if you ever get stuck with negative energies in your house, Paul and I could come and clear them. I used sound in a place that we went to on Saturday, didn't I, Paul? To clear some
Yeah.
negative energy.
Is that with the singing bowl?
Yeah. And then I used voice as well with that.
I've got a singing bowl as well.
Yeah.
And also they do these big singing bowls that you actually stand in and do like a sound bath with them.
Yeah. I've got crystal bowls, and you can also use gongs as well.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
don't have any of those.
I've got
they're
I've
too.
got a singing bowl, but I don't have a gong or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I probably need one to cool them down for dinner. But yeah. But yeah, it's
Yeah. So
Oh.
we did an investigation on Saturday, and afterwards I cleansed the house with my singing bowls, with crystal singing bowls. That was quite interesting, wasn't it, Paul?
It was, yeah. You could feel the energy changing. You get really, really hot, then suddenly you'd go back to a normal temperature, and the bowls would carry on singing. Woo, 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 woo. It wouldn't sort of run out of energy. It's amazing. When it first started, it was like going. It was woo, 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 and then just dulled out really quickly. And then as Jen started to sing and really get the bowls moving, and you could feel even I'll tell you a little bit about the investigation in a minute, because it was a last minute thing we were asked to just go and have a look at. But even the lady stood next to me, and she said what she was getting really hot, and I was getting hot, and then she said to me, "Now I've gone back to normal." And obviously that's the energy changing within that room, you know, to open the windows and get the bowls singing and Jen doing her bit. And you could actually feel the heat generated and then go back to normal temperature. And even her husband walked in the room. He said, "What's different about this room?" And yet he was downstairs. So he didn't know any. He heard the bowls singing, but you know, you do hear them sing when they start to go. But he came upstairs and said, "Why does this room feel different?" So it does make a difference when they're done. You know, for the negative energy, it's like burning sage, isn't it? And Salo Panto wood, and you know, get in all the corners, because a lot of negatives hide in the dark corners, don't they? You know, and a lot of times we, you know, they say that we sort of live and spirit to travel out the windows, but after the time in the winter, we got the windows shut, house is shut, they got nowhere else to go, have they? So they just bounce around within the walls. This is what they say. And then when you're you know, cleansing a house, windows open, brightness coming in, you know, plenty of light, and just let them go on their way. And it did actually work on Saturday. I'd say it got really quite hot in the room, and it went back to normal temperature. And the bowls were singing for a lot longer instead of dudding and thudding out a little bit.
Yeah, they resonate. The sustain goes on for quite a long time.
And you can hear it go.
Where we've got like really hot on investigations.
Pardon?
We've had that before where we've got really hot on investigations.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Really hot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've turned my camera off because I'm getting like about one word in 3 or 4. It's, I don't know if turning my camera off will help, but it's just, yeah, it keeps like spinning and buffering. I think it's because I'm not near where I should, you know, maybe I'm not near a maybe I'm too far away. So
yeah. But yeah, so do you want to talk about the actual investigation that we did there?
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for Jenny or about crystals, or you're not sure, you contact Jenny or Angela, and Angela will push the questions through and we'll find the answers for you. You know, if you want to know what they do or why they're used for, and if you think back how long they've been used for, over hundreds and hundreds of years, if not more, you know. So that just leads us on shortly to a last minute investigation we were asked to go to, which was in Essex. I won't tell you.
Paul, sorry. I ought to just finish by saying that, yeah, you need to actually close yourself down after you've been to like an investigation or something like that. So we close the chakras down. Imagine each chakra closing to like a bud, and then you just put the lid over each chakra, and then you put your energy or your roots back down, and then you bring up like put yourself in a bubble or a sleeping bag, or you can use mirrors to bat off any sort of negative energy or something like that. Or, you know, I like to bring up the sleeping bag and do it up to the top and put a hood over. So that's how you would close yourself down. Okay. So
that's like your bubble of protection.
Yeah. Or cloak of protection, whatever feels right for you. Okay, so back over to Paul then. Sorry. Thought I'd better just say that.
Thank you for that. Interesting. Thank you for that last minute crystal thing. So Saturday, I'll tell you what's going on, but I won't obviously go into too much detail because it's still an ongoing investigation. So we were contacted last minute to travel to Essex. So we was going to go to Essex and then on to my sister that lives in Suffolk. So we went to Essex and then on up to Suffolk. Now, this is a house built in the 1960s, about 1965. The couple that are in there have owned it from new. So it's not as though they've just moved in there. They've had the house from new. Had many, many years, happy times. But within the last year and a half to 2 years, there's starting to be a problem coming along. So they contacted us, or myself, and asked me what I thought about it. But it wasn't the owners of the house, it was a friend of theirs that contacted me and said, what do you think this could be? So what I'll do is I'll tell you about a bit about it, and then you tell me what you feel about it, yeah? So they'll come down one morning, and the cushions are on the sofa will be not on the sofa, but be all around the top of the sofa. So they've come from the sofa, been put on the top of the sofa, but they're all exactly the same distance away, all the way around this corner sofa, exactly the same, like someone's measured them. Yeah. The next thing that happens, they come down one day. Instead, they sometimes feel someone sitting on the side of her bed. Her husband doesn't really get much interaction. He knows this couple of bits have happened, but it's normally the lady that gets all the things. And she feels like that someone sits on the side of her bed in the middle of the night. So she feels that depression on her bed. So they would come down in the morning, and on the breakfast bar would be a massive breakfast bar stool, big one, a quite really heavy
Really
stool,
heavy.
and it's up on the breakfast counter. So again, also they come down another morning. It could go 2 weeks and nothing happens, then something will happen for a few days, and then it will disappear again. So this energy comes and goes. They'll open the curtains downstairs, and the net curtains are all tied together in a knot, like both pulled together and tied with a knot. And then the other issue, she hears lots of tapping and bits and pieces going on. But the most active thing is when they go to bed at night, all the shoes are in the hallway by the front door, like you do when you come in, take your shoes off. And when they come down in the morning, the front door's opened or the back door, the shoes are outside, but the laces are all tied together. But,
how can that happen? It's
so,
just like
Spirit can do some amazing things, believe you me.
So
do you think it's the land
what's
that it
your
was
take
built
on it?
on? Do you think it's the
Right.
land rather than the
Yeah.
house?
And the other
Yeah.
thing
What
she
was,
says
what was
is
there before?
right. It's a very famous. You might have heard of it. It's a place called Severals. Okay, and it was a mental asylum, and it was called Severals Mental Asylum. And what it was it was the overfill asylum for London, Kent, Essex, and all the surrounding areas. When they were full, they would take them to this place in Essex. Okay, so they would all be there. At any one time, they would have anything up to about 1,800 to 2,000 patients at a time. But it was not a conventional mental home in the sense of that you had in a reception room and then all the wings would come off of that. What you had was a reception room in the middle, but then you'd have these buildings scattered all around, and it was on a 300-acre site.
Cool.
Okay, this mental asylum. So it's a huge, huge place. So what you'd have is all these halls scattered around the 300 acres. So you'd have a male one, a female one, children's one. Then you'd have mum and dad. Then you'd have another wing for mum, dad, and child, and one for grandma. All these types, but they were all individual halls scattered around this 300-acre site. So during coming up to 1914, the mental asylum was taken over by the British Army for World War One. And they actually turfed them all out and took over the whole 300-acre site for training for World War One. And then when that was over,
there was also a hospital on site.
yeah, so you've got a hospital there for the sick. So, and also a lot of the buildings would have nurses, maintenance men, builders, decorators, also, everybody that was anybody lived there, because it was such a vast site. So they'd have everybody in one area all at the same time. So they wasn't looking for maintenance men. They were there to do whatever would happen. Hello, NSPC TV from Texas. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. So, So, without going into too much detail, this house is as a new estate that's been built. Okay. Now, the asylum shut down in 1979, if I'm right. So, somewhere around that time. So, obviously, they knocked down a lot of the buildings, but some of the buildings still remain. And there was a forest. It was built within the mental asylum. Was built within this forest, this 300-acre site. A lot of the forest still remains. It's the original forest there, which backs onto the houses. Okay, so where people go walk their dogs. So what I'm asking, what's your take on the shoes being put outside and tied up?
I want you to leave. That's what I would have said. The
Right.
door's open.
I'm thinking maybe it was somebody in the army, you know, where everything has to be in order.
Exactly that.
Military.
That's the way I would, yes,
Yeah.
military, and where everything has to be regimented,
Yeah.
because you
That's the
wouldn't
word.
just leave your shoes just, you know, as they were. They'd have to be all be neat and tidy. And I don't think they would have liked the shoes inside the house because of the dirt and everything.
True.
That would be my take on that.
Angela, what do you think?
I don't know. To me, it sounded more like somebody that likes everything just so and neat and tidy and nothing out of place, and that's what I get from it anyway.
They don't ever feel threatened. They don't feel scared, but it's escalating to more now. Paula, what do you think?
Is that original building there then, that one?
No, it's
No, it's a
the
new
original
build.
building's gone. The only thing that's left of the original building is the water tower, the clock tower, as they called it, which is it's
Okay.
been preserved because of what it was. But the rest of the outbuildings, apparently, there is still some buildings that are left around the forest, but the main centre of the what would have been the centre of the hospital outwards is a housing estate now. But obviously,
They've
it's
done
changed
something
its
very
name.
similar up here. They've done something very similar where we are, where they had a mental hospital, and they've knocked it all down apart from like the clock tower and
Yeah,
that the building the clock tower's in, and they've made it all into flats. And then everything else that
right.
they've knocked down, they've just built new builds on it. And I have heard stories of things happening up there. I've actually been up there on my own with a couple of friends and done some EVP and got some really good EVP up there. But there is, would I buy a house on top of a a former mental hospital? No, definitely not. 100% no. No.
Nor would I.
Because
People don't know,
Because
the
they're
other
still there, aren't they? They're still there. No matter
Yeah.
if you build a new house or, even make it into a field, they're still there.
But also, you've got to remember, it's the people that would have died there due to surgery, illness, whatever. Nobody would ever come to claim them. So
No.
where are they? Where are they?
underneath the buildings, probably.
It's got to be a graveyard there somewhere, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
They've got to be. We have one near us, and if you're interested, we'll take you to it one day because I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a place called St. Lawrence's Graveyard. Okay. And that was the graveyard for, was it Wallingham Mental Hospital, Jen?
No, St. Lawrence's Mental Hospital, because there was a separate one for Wallingham and there was another one for Coulsdon.
Right. So that obviously over the years that deteriorated and they shut it down. So what's there now is a golf course. Okay. So there's this massive, massive golf course. But right in the middle of the golf course is this graveyard, which belongs to St. Lawrence's Graveyard. And they're not allowed to do anything with it because it's a sacred burial ground. So the golf course is built around it, but you can actually walk to it. And if you really want to go, we'll take you there one day. And it is quite a place. The last count, when I looked, when you go in there, there's all the mounds all over the place, but none of the gravestones are there. The gravestones are all around the edge.
Yeah. What they
because as they fell over,
Paul, what they actually did, they started digging it up not realizing that it was like people's graves, or not realizing that it was consecrated land. And they were kind of stopped in their tracks. But meantime, they'd already knocked over all these gravestones, but didn't know where they went back to. Right? So that's what actually happened.
So they put all the gravestones around the edge of the footpaths because they didn't know where they went when they knocked them down. They didn't know what went with what body. So when I looked back at the history, the last count, and I mean, it's not a massive graveyard either, is it, Jen?
No,
really,
not at all.
considering it, you know, the last count was 3,000 people.
God.
And how big was it?
300 foot by 400 foot. So it's not a very big area.
Virtually nothing. And
what happened was when the go on.
Okay, so we went with our historian Helen, and her and I were listening to what was it? Paratech, wasn't it? On my phone.
Paratech, yeah.
Paul was going around the outside of the area with his camera, took this picture, which actually turned out to be, there's this massive orb in the picture. I mean, like as tall as a person sort of thing. And I'm sitting there with Helen going through she's writing the words down of the Paratech, when all of a sudden this voice came through my phone, and this woman said, "My name's Carol, I'm here." Unfortunately, we didn't get it on the voice recorder. Damn, because like that was like just, we went, "Oh my God," and Paul comes rushing over. And it was quite something.
But that actually came through on the phone and not through the app, which was even more creepy, really. So what they said, when you look up the history, what they did was they run out of area to bury the bodies. So what they decided to do was to dig up what was already there, make the holes deeper and put more people in them. In the last count, they say, how true that is, I don't know. There was 3,000 people buried there. Because nobody would ever put someone that was in a mental asylum, because that was just not what they did in them days, was it? They,
the
put them in there.
To know them, did they?
No, because you couldn't associate with someone with mental illness, could you? In them days,
no. Back then,
and if they did die, it would cost money to bury them, so they would never go back and claim the bodies anyway. So going back to the Essex, it makes you wonder what's in the forest and around. And we were running an app because we had things going on, didn't we? We heard a woman's voice in the hallway.
Yeah.
Mainly, the incidents happened downstairs. The only thing she gets upstairs is like someone sits on the edge of her bed. But downstairs, they'll get the doors that are closed, the curtains that are tied, the shoes outside, the doors being unlocked, or the doors being bolted from the inside. So all these things are building up, and she said they're not scared by it, but they would just like it to stop, because the lady can't sleep because she hears something and she's awake for the rest of the night because she just feels there's something's going to happen. We went in there and it didn't feel negative, it didn't feel threatening, anything like that. Hey,
nothing.
But when you look at when you go back in history and you look at mental asylums, what they would do also is they would leave the doors open. They'd put the shoes outside with the laces so they couldn't hang themselves or do any damage. But what they would do was tie the shoelaces together to stop the patient running off. So, like Julie was saying, it definitely feels military in the way that the cushions are equally spaced. Yeah. And she also said they have had where the shoes have been put together in their pairs from the front door and put up the stairs all in their pairs, all in a neat neat stack up the stairs on each step.
Really?
Interesting case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very.
So we've now got to go back and look at the history of this area and how we can associate. And we were running an app, and one of the app came back, said I was hung. My ashes are in the woods.
Oh.
So that sort of gave us a bit of a lead what was going on. So I asked her about the local area, and she said the houses on there go up for sale really quickly, and then they're gone, and then they're up for sale, and then they're gone. So they do seem to have a high turnover in how people buying the houses. Could be that she said a few years ago when the interest rate was low, lots of people bought houses on the estate because they were cheap. As the interest rate went up, obviously the mortgage rates went up. They couldn't afford to keep the house, which would make sense. But she said the turnover is quite high in people going in and going out. And just behind her is a lady that lives just behind them. And she keeps herself to herself, you know, doesn't bother anybody. She's a working lady. And one day her husband was out there and this lady come out. She lives on her own. She's got her own dog and that. And he said to her, "Hi, how are you?" Yeah, fine, thank you. You know, he said, "Can I ask you a question?" She said, "Well, as long as it's not personal, that's fine." He said, "Do you have any issues in your house?" She said, "Oh, yeah, all the time. You know, I can feel someone sitting on the side of my bed when I go to sleep at night. I can feel the bed tip. There's someone sitting there. Things happen inside the house." But, you know, so that sort of confirms what she's saying, because you've now got from another credible witness, you know, that something else is going on. You know, so like Jim was saying, we run the singing bowls through it, and it literally got really hot in the room, and then went back to normal temperature. So,
But you know, with
what we're going to do?
bowls, the sound of the bowls really cleanses the energy, because sound is quite what I call profound. So it really shifts that energetic and sort of like negative energy going on. And I've just said to her, because she was getting worried about it all and not sleeping, I said, well, we'll do that and see how you get on with it. I mean, I'm not saying that it, you know, necessarily will clear that energy. But I did ask for any negative energies or negative spirits to go to the light, and we called upon Archangel Michael as well. So, you know, hopefully she'll be, you know, a little bit more rested and being able to sleep, perhaps.
So, you know, when you hear that as a real life haunting, you know, you see it on TV, didn't you, when they have all these programs, and when you actually go there and all these things that happen, and they've got it documented, they've got photographs, pictures, they've got everything documented, you know, the shoes being left outside. And say in the mental asylums, they would tie the shoelaces together to stop them running off, and they would tie the curtains in a knot to stop them hanging themselves. But then it doesn't relate to, like Julia was saying, how the cushions are moved from the sofa to the top of the sofa, but they're all equally spaced all the way around. And the shoes up the stairs are paired together, and they're put exactly the same going all the way up the stairs. So that would be like regimented type spirit.
Yeah.
So what's your taking on, do you think there's two layers to this house? Or do you think it's one layer, one person? Or do you think there's layers in it?
But what do you mean by layers?
Difficult, isn't it?
Different people, probably different people.
But it's
in the
two
house.
hauntings, two
Yeah.
different people.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's two different people.
and it's like layers. What they call layers. There's two different people in two different times. Because she said it only happens every couple of weeks, and then it stops, and then it'll come back again. Then it'll stop, then it comes back. So what goes on in 2 weeks that it comes back? Is it
Does this
that it's
happen
looking for
differently?
something?
Is it happening differently?
Then-
Is that the stuff that's
then
happening?
what
You're
do you
saying
mean
that
in
the shoes the shoes outside, basically, what is happening? What different
Yeah,
nights, I assume. So the shoes goes outside with the door
yeah,
open and at the back, and then next day it'd
yeah,
be like the the stools going up on the side, and then the next night it'd be like the pillows.
Yeah, the
And then
pillows,
somebody,
and then the next
I
night
mean,
she'll open the curtains and the nets will be tied.
yeah, and when somebody sits on a bed, is it every night or is it just now and then?
Every now and again, she feels someone, because she seats to the left. So as you come through the door, she's first there, and she's even swapped sides with her husband. So he said, "Well, I'll sleep that side. You go on that side, and see how we get on." And obviously, and we all know you have your favourite side of the bed, don't you? So when you swap over, it's not, you can't settle, can you? Because you always got your favourite side.
Yeah.
So she said that didn't work at all because she couldn't settle because she was on the wrong side of the bed. She couldn't sleep that night anyway.
Oh, did
So,
the
you know,
person still? I suppose when she went back, I suppose when she did sleep on that side, did that person sleep on her side of the bed, sat down on her side, or did it not happen?
yeah,
Or do you not know?
it didn't happen that night, but it happened a couple of nights later.
When she slept back on
And
the
she
same
knows
side.
she's laying there, she's just drifting off because it's been quiet. And then she feels like someone's just sat on the side of the bed next to her.
Yeah.
But she
It's like they
doesn't
want a
feel.
connection with her, isn't it?
And this
Thing
is
is,
what we were trying to find out who it was and why.
Yeah, because the thing is, if it's
Is it?
asylum
Is it?
house, they usually sit there, don't they, on the bed? Basically, if it's a hospital bed or anything like that, they would have sat on the bed, wouldn't they? If they were on medication or
Yeah, on the
whatever.
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So maybe they're trying to contact her to tell her what's happened. So that's the only thing I can
Yeah,
think.
that's what we kind of felt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the other bit, I
Do you
don't think. So I'm sorry.
Sorry, Paula. Go
No,
on.
go on, carry on. No, the other bit, I was thinking, I
Do
don't
you-
think the shoe bits is to somebody else. I don't think that's the same person. So I reckon the silent bit is with the woman sitting on somebody on the bed, I personally think. And then with the shoes and lining up everything else, that's got to be, like you say, a soldier or somebody
Yeah.
tidying
Like
up.
Julie was saying, regimental.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was picking up the nurse
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
Females do a lot of tidying, don't they? But then if you've got a nurse there, then she's going to tie up the thing for safety, isn't she? Out the way.
Yeah. Or maybe sit on the bed.
True. Or pillows put up high. Do you know what I mean? Out the way for safety, so people don't suffocate themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very
There's a few,
interesting case.
yeah,
Or is it
there's a few
someone?
things going on there.
Or is it someone looking for something?
Mm.
You know, like we get the feeling. You know, when you get "I was hung, my ashes are in the woods," you sort of relate to, is that spirit looking for themselves in the woods? And then you can imagine it sort of wandering between the houses or them. Because what we picked up really in the kitchen was a lady in the kitchen, a man in a lounge, and a little child. So it would have been a family type situation. And this is what I'm saying about layers, whether there's two different.
Yeah. I
Pardon?
was going to say family originally. I was going to say family originally might have lived in that house, and I thought, no, it can't be that. It went out my foot, took it out my head. But that's the first thing come in my head, family.
Yeah.
Because you know it's a husband that basically.
Our next step is. Yeah. Our next step is really to go back on the census, because what we need to do is find like a ordnance survey map, because what if the house was built on the hospital wing? What would have been the hospital wing originally?
About a mortuary in the
But
hospital.
it's like Julie was saying, it's the land. It's coming from the land. It's not the house. It's coming from the land.
Yeah. But you had mortuaries, didn't you, in the hospitals and things like that, didn't you? Bodies laying there till wherever they've been moved. So how do you know that could be something to do with it? You just don't know, do you?
Also,
and the issue is obviously they don't want to talk to their neighbours, because if they want to sell it, the neighbours might say, "Well, don't buy that house; it's haunted."
Yeah.
So they can't really ask anybody else down the street whether they're having an issue, other than the lady behind, because they know that she doesn't talk to anybody at all. She just keeps herself to herself and does her own thing. and she was saying that she didn't want to go and ask the neighbours next door or around the corner or up the street because they say, "Oh, don't buy whatever," because it's haunted, which you
Yeah.
can understand, can't you?
Mm.
Well, it's like
But
my
no,
neighbours.
So,
They went to
sorry.
buy a house next door, and the estate agent said to them, "Oh, the people, my friends that were buying it, were very religious," and they said, "Oh, do you realise that somebody hung themselves in there?" And my friend wouldn't buy the house, but that's what the estate agent told them.
yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, she wouldn't buy the house, but we think we've seen him in our window.
Oh,
We think
wow.
he may be looking in
Oh,
from the. We think he might be looking in through our window. We've got a photo of
Wow.
him. He's like wearing a suit.
Yeah, my mum's
Wait a
next door
minute.
neighbour. Go on, sorry.
No, go on.
No, as I say, my mum's next door neighbour. She, the house next door to my mum, basically, the woman hung herself there years
wow.
ago. Yeah, she did at top of the stairs, and my poor dad basically saw. Well, he saw her hung basically because he went round there because he saw the neighbour sitting outside on the
Mm.
floor, crossing his arms like this. He said, "Oh, you're all right," and he said, "No, I'm not." He said, "Go and have a look through there." He said, "What?" Like that. So my dad, he told him to look through the letterbox, which was the worst thing to do.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
And she was hung
yeah.
herself. So my dad phoned an ambulance, blah blah. But she was gone. But then her son, her son hung himself 6 months
Mm.
before.
Oh,
So she
oh
couldn't
my
cope with it,
God.
and then she did it to herself. So he actually stayed there. I don't know how he did, but he stayed there, and then he met somebody else. But now that house is, like you say, they're renting now. That house is. So I don't know if there's any going on. I don't know.
But do you know what, Paula? Literally, I had a client the other day I was giving a reading to, and exactly the same thing. The son had hung himself. 6 months later, the dad did it because he couldn't
Yeah,
stand it. And that's,
yeah,
that's
sad.
quite common. Quite common.
It's quite sad, really, isn't it? It ends like that,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I don't understand really because she was a nice lady. She was happy. We thought she was happy because she was in a relationship with her. She's been with him for years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they went on holidays, went camping. They used to go on because they used to have motorbikes. See, they had the old what's it called? Triumphs, is it? What it called?
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
Landorettas, don't they have one
Yeah.
of those basically. They just go off to like Isle of Wight cows and places like that. So they did everything together all the time. So I never understand why she did what she did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But,
So
but look at Robin Williams, the comedian.
yeah,
He a comedian.
yeah.
He took his own life, didn't he?
Yeah, you just don't know behind closed doors what goes on. So,
No.
one
Yeah.
minute they're
I
happy and
think
then
he had a
low.
terminal illness or something, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, they
Um,
did say that, didn't they?
yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
But these are the people we try and contact. Because you go
Yeah,
into a haunted location, you don't actually know what's happening there. And sometimes it's like they call layers, where things happen, but at different times, different time frames, different years, whatever,
Maybe,
and it becomes layers.
yeah, like that being the layer thing. Maybe
Yeah,
that energy is like drawing the same sort of energy to it. Do you
yeah,
understand what I mean?
could be.
So, like
Yeah,
one hanging would like draw someone else that's perhaps depressed and draw that energy, and they hang themselves, and so on and so forth.
yeah.
have
So
they
it's
always
quite
had this
an interest.
happening? Have
Sorry,
they always had this happening, or it's just got worse now?
no. The last few years, it's got. They've had a few taps and knocks and bits, but nothing that would with the shoes, the doors, the curtains, nothing like that at all. But the last few years, it's starting to really
Ramp up,
sort of
isn't it?
escalate to what it's doing now. And they were
Maybe
quite
somebody
unsure and
disturbed
asked us to come in and help. Pardon?
maybe somebody's disturbed something that shouldn't have been disturbed there. That's got the
Well,
energy up.
The only thing that kind of struck me was that the husband had a long time back been quite interested in mediumship, and started to train, but didn't take that any further. And he's a carer, because I picked up, didn't I, that he was a carer, or
Yeah.
someone in the house was a carer or quite empathic. She is quite empathic as well. So, but because I think she's not sleeping, it's like affecting her more.
Mm. Do they have any young
She
children
seems
or
more open to
teenagers
it.
in the house?
I don't think they've got any young children, but I think there's within the family, I think there's a couple of children, like her sister.
She has a daughter that's 28 that's living there at the moment to saving up for a mortgage, but she comes and goes. They don't base
but she hasn't
themselves
got.
there. They occasionally go
doesn't
there.
have any children, Paul.
No,
No,
the lady
but I
does.
think
The daughter, the
no,
28
but I
year
think she doesn't.
No,
but I think there's
but the
like
daughter.
I think there's an aunt or something that brings children in.
Yeah, graduate, wherever they are. Yeah, so it's quite an intriguing case, really. Luke, what's your take on it? You're sitting there all quiet. What's your take on it, Luke?
No, I can picture it in my head. It's like I don't know. I can imagine that as it was before. It was the house for it, and the health hospital. Keep thinking about it all the time is quite disturbing. I don't know.
It is, you sort of,
Yeah.
what we've got to do now is go back on the census, because we had lots of names come through, didn't we, Jen?
Yeah.
So we need to go back on the census and try and link the names with the area of Essex, or in that specific area, because that part of Essex was only known for that place, nothing else. And obviously now you've got a football ground and a massive housing estate there now. So it's a case of going back to the census. We had a few dates come through and lots of names. I was hung, my ashes in the woods, that type of thing. So we need to go back, and maybe the spirit's unrest because he can't find his ashes. I don't know. It's one of these ones you see on TV and you think, cool, I would love to get hold of that case. But it's the last minute thing we were asked to do. And we're thinking, where is this going to lead to? So it's a case now of going back to the census, and the ancestry.com and all of them types of thing, and try and work out these names are related in that area and would they've been there at that time. And then you could then really go back there because you've got a name. You could call that spirit by a name. Maybe that's what they want, to be recognised by a name. But you've got to do the groundwork, because it's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? Whenever you do a paranormal investigation, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? They give you bits, but you have to piece it. Were you a male? Were you a female? Did you work here? Didn't you work here? So they're giving you the bits of the jigsaw, and it's a case of where you're having to put the jigsaw together as investigators, aren't you, to build a bigger picture at the end of the night, or a couple of days later, or whatever.
Yeah, I've just found the bit of paper, and one of the things that came out was, I visit, where are my children? Okay, that was one of the things. And they feel as if their conversations are being listened to. That was the other thing. Don't leave.
Yeah.
Nice hat. Now they just got a couple of new hats or something.
In the hallway.
Yeah.
And she says when her and her husband are chatted about, it's all been quiet for the last few weeks, maybe it's all gone. And he says, you shouldn't have said that. And then came through on the app was, we are listening.
That's right, yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
She said that about her and her husband chatting about it, and the app just went bang, we are listening. Because he said, maybe the walls have got ears. Ha, 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 ha. And it came out, it said, we are listening. And you can quite believe that, because it said the hat in the hallway, various things you think, how? So they're very careful what they say now in the house.
Keep your mind anyway.
Yeah, the other thing was
Times, so we can't get around it.
we are always here.
They probably want to be at
Um,
rest. It sounds like they're trying to find something, aren't they? I wonder if
Yeah.
something's been disturbed there, basically. Something's been disturbed.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what I
I
think. They're
the
looking
other
for something.
yeah, the other one was I was poor, and then it came out tragedy. Then it came out find my ashes. Tranquility. I'm listening to everything, and like we were having a bit of a conversation, weren't we? And then
Yeah.
it came out with I'm listening to everything.
Wonder if
Incredible.
anybody around the neighbourhood basically has been digging anything around their gardens.
Hmm.
It's, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, absolutely. This is the issue where you can't go knocking on the neighbour's door and asking, have you
No.
dug up anything in your garden? You ain't
No.
found a box full of ashes or something.
Yeah.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Because how do you know?
Yeah.
The point
Yeah, yeah,
is,
yeah.
if it's been buried, a lot of things are buried, or are they doing more work on that site somewhere? And they've disturbed something?
We didn't see any construction,
No.
but you've got to wonder whether the bodies that were never claimed were in the woods, which
Yeah.
backs onto the estate. So is it that
What-
it's in the woods looking for something, or does it not know? We don't know. So this is why you got to go back to the census and try and link the names. You know, it's like Jeff and Miriam and all these really odd names. So somehow you've got to try and link it.
Can she remember how far
Sorry?
back when it started? Can she remember that?
About
Is
2
it
years ago.
Yeah, but does she
About
know
2 years.
how it started or anything, or did something, you know? I wonder if
Started.
2 years ago.
It just happened.
Because I wonder if there
It
were
happened.
children that turned up at the time and it triggered something there, or somebody's been digging before.
What she said it was that her daughter was going out one night.
Yeah.
And she said, "Mum, don't bolt the door because I need to get back in, but I'll be in about 3:00 in the morning." So off went the daughter. The mum locked up, didn't bolt the door, and off she went. About 3:15 in the morning, the daughter's rung the mum and woke her. She said, "I can't get in. The door's bolted." She said, "It's not bolted." She said, "It's bolted." And when the mum came downstairs, the keys were in the lock to stop you getting the keys in, and the door was bolted. Hence why the daughter couldn't get back in, because the keys were in the door.
I bet she blamed her mother.
She said she didn't go down very well at 3:15 in the morning. But the keys are normally hung up in the hallway and not left in the door. But when she got down, she thought, well, that's odd. Why are the keys in the door? Hence why she couldn't get the key in the lock. And when she looked up, the door was bolted, and she knows for a fact that she didn't bolt it. And her husband's suffered complete apnea. Pardon?
Have they thought about putting cameras inside their house?
They've got cameras.
Oh, they have. There's nothing on them.
They've moved the cameras around. So they've moved it down to the hallway. It gets lots of orbs, and one orb is right. This will sort of throw you. They put the camera downstairs and left it running one night and reviewed the footage. And on the footage was 3 different type of orbs: a small one, a medium-sized one, and a large orb, all at the same time.
Could be a family.
Exactly.
And that's what I think. Hence, then it goes back to where the family would have been housed in a block together with mental illness, whatever it may have been, illness in the child, whatever. So does it mean that this house is on that block? Does it mean the house is on what would have been the hospital side of the block? And this is where we've got to go back now and go for the ordnance survey maps, the census, the ancestry, and see whether we can try and pin the house where it would have been on that plot. And that plot is 300 acres. So it is huge, absolutely huge. And I took some pictures. On the water tower, there's a picture of it. And I'll, next time we get together, I'll show you the pictures. Obviously, I'm not going to do it on here because it's a ongoing case, but I'll show you the pictures. But the water tower, or the clock tower as they call it, is the only original feature left of the 300 acre site, other than sort of ruins spread out around it.
And
Interesting, isn't it?
unfortunately, we would have spent a little bit more time around there, but it's all on parking permits. And
Yeah.
so you can't stop anywhere. And you know what? The lady put a permit on our car, but she put the wrong, instead of O, she put, what did she put? D or something?
D instead of O.
Accident. We only
You got a parking
ticket.
Oh crap!
But no, she'll sort that. You know, ridiculous.
She said
isn't
she'd
it?
sort
But
it out because she'd been
the
there
rest
20
of
years and she knew.
you'd think, wouldn't you, that they'd look at it and think,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's got to be a slight error there because the rest of the registration is correct. You know,
Well,
but no,
you saying that happened to my mother-in-law, right? She parked. Well, when his dad was alive, she had a disabled badge basically,
yeah,
and she couldn't park in a disabled place because somebody else parked there, which they shouldn't have done because it was a normal person parked in their space. So she
right,
parked on the grass, basically, put her badge down. She thought she put the time on it, but she didn't. She put her badge down. She got him indoors, basically, because it was too far from the house. So she staggered him indoors, got him in finally.
yeah,
He was not very happy, so he phoned up the wardens, blah blah, for the cars and all that lot.
yeah.
They, funny enough, they came down that evening and they put a ticket on her car.
No.
Yeah, she
They
went
put,
called
they
in to
put,
say that they couldn't park there. They told them they couldn't park the disabled badge, and all these cars were all everywhere. So he went off for one and phoned them up, and they put a big sticker about a fine on her
no.
car because they didn't put
Oh
a time
my
on it.
God.
Yeah,
And she said, "Well, I did put a time on it because I was trying to get him in the house. It took them
Yeah.
a while to get the money back. They got the money back in the end, but it took a
Yeah.
long time fighting
Do you know
over
what?
it."
My previous blue badge, I wasn't showing the time, and it had slipped down the
Yeah, it can do.
windscreen, so
Yeah.
it wasn't clearly shown. I got
No.
a ticket for that.
Yeah, they will do. If you're not showing it, they
They're
put
so and so's, aren't they?
yeah, yeah, I won't say the word. Who said it? The B. But yeah, so that's what they
Starts
did
with
to
a
her.
B and ends with an S.
Yeah. I stopped myself. Do you see how quick that was? But bleep bleep.
So,
Yeah.
are there any questions coming in, Angela, or is it all quiet tonight?
No, very quiet tonight.
Okay. All right.
Well, I've had a
Okay.
message from Gemma because she was trying to get on.
All right.
And to just go back. This was at 9 o'clock. She said she's trying to get on, but when she clicks on it, it says events isn't available at the moment. This link may be broken. So
Oh.
I don't know
Oh.
if it's. I have shared a couple more links with her that I seem to have found which was slightly different, but
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's got something to do with that. I don't know.
Could be that other people can't get in. What was
But when I
happening
looked
there
on
then?
Facebook, it looks like it's showing. It looks like it's live, and you know it's reeling away. So
Yeah. That's
Well,
very strange, isn't it?
time's getting on, so
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you, Jen, for talking about crystals and grounding and all of that stuff.
Very important.
So it's all good talking to all of you again. I hope you're all safe and well. So interesting case, isn't it? We had to look at Saturday, a really interesting case. So obviously that's ongoing. So it only remains for me to say thank you everybody on here. And thank you everybody if you managed to get on. We're not quite sure what's happened tonight, but we'll have a look, see what's going on. Maybe just a glitch in Facebook or StreamYard, something like that. So it's a big thank you for Jenny for talking about the crystals and
That's right.
Angela
And
and
if
Julia.
if anyone would like a reading with me, just get in touch after the show. I do the paranormal. No, I do. I do my live on a Friday morning. That's free. Look, you just jump on. And if you want to catch me on my website, it's obviously www.jennymarianneclairvoyantmedium.com. Okay.
Thank you. So only remains, and we'll keep you posted. Go onto the Paranation website. I think is there still tickets for Shepton Mullet, Julia, or is it all sold out now?
we are just about sold out. So if you're lucky, you might get 1 or 2 tickets.
Go
But I
for it.
think we probably only got a couple of spaces. It's done really well.
Yeah.
The next event we've got spaces for is the Warrior in December.
So keep an eye on that. Get onto the
Portsmouth,
Paranation
isn't it?
website.
Is that down at Portsmouth?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
So get onto the Paranation website, events, and book your places. If you're going, we'll see you next Saturday at Shepton Mullet Prison. So we always look forward to that. We're all back together because we've had a bit of a break and we haven't been together for a while. So it'll be nice to get back together and have a chat. And it'd be nice to see the newbies come in and chat with them and all the regulars, because they'll be off and away in the prison doing their own stuff, which is nice. Takes the pressure off the event organizer when they're off doing their own stuff. So it remains for me to say thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed it about the crystals and the grounding and the case that we're working on, and all our opinions. These are just our opinions. They're not a general opinion. If you have your own opinion, please come on here and talk to us. You're welcome to come on. Send your comments in. We're open to that. But these are just our opinions and what we think. We're not saying this is a general opinion. This is what we think. So it only makes me to say have a safe week. And I'll see you all next Monday. We'll have a different subject. I'm waiting to hear from someone to get them on, but I haven't heard back. I keep emailing them. So hopefully I can get a response from them and get them on. And then that'll be interesting to talk to them. So I just want to say a big thank you. Stay safe next week, everybody, and take care. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.